For our daily cancellation today, we must cancel Jerry Seinfeld. It's a bit of a sad moment for me. I've always liked Jerry Seinfeld. His show was a touch overrated, but still one of the greatest television comedies of all time, no doubt about that. He hasn't created a solid piece of entertainment, whether a film or a TV show, since Seinfeld went off the air 25 years ago, despite multiple attempts. But even so, he's undeniably one of the great comics. And over the years, he has shown a willingness to speak out against hyper PC culture and the deleterious effect that it has on comedy. He spoke out most explicitly in an interview with The New Yorker recently, where he said that the extreme left, in his words, is killing comedy.
Matt Walsh pulls no punches in this takedown of Jerry Seinfeld for his sudden and embarrassing retreat from calling out woke culture. What starts as a reflection on Seinfeld's legacy quickly shifts into an unapologetic critique. From defending comedy against the encroachment of hyper-PC culture to now bowing down and retracting his statements, Seinfeld's gate metaphor becomes the symbol of everything wrong with neutered comedy. In the video, Walsh explores the cowardice, hypocrisy, and cultural decay that Seinfeld's about-face represents. If you're tired of the left's stranglehold on art and comedy, you'll want to stick around. Let's break down how Matt Walsh destroys Jerry Seinfeld for caving to woke culture.
As far as I can remember, it was the first time that he had directly called out the left. Now, not exactly an act of bravery. He's a 70-year-old comedian who's worth over $1 billion. So he's not putting much on the line by talking about these issues, but many of us appreciated it all the same. That is until the interview he just did with fellow comedian Tom Papa this week, where he backtracked on all of it.
I did an interview. So there were two things that I have to say I regret saying and that I have to take back. And I said that the extreme left has suppressed the art of comedy.
Mm-hmm.
I did say that.
Yeah.
It's not true. It's not true.
Wow, what a gutless retraction. Jerry, Jerry, Jerry. The words came out of your mouth. You knew they were true when you said them, and now you're walking them back because you felt a little heat? This reeks of fear. Fear of the very woke mob you tried to critique. Comedy used to be about courage. This is about cowardice.
No. Again, you want to go back? Let's go back to our solid liquid analogy.
Okay.
And the other thing that I have said about this, if you're Lindsey Vonn, if you're a champion skier, you can put the gates anywhere you want on the mountain. She's going to make the gate.
Right.
That's comedy.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever the culture is, we make the gate.
Mm-hmm.
You don't make the gate, you're out of the game. The game is, where is the gate? How do I make the gate and get down the hill in the way I want to?
Seinfeld just described the death of comedy in one awkward skiing analogy. Guess what, Jerry? Comedy is not about making the gate, it's about smashing through it. This isn't skiing, Jerry, it's stand-up. Following cultural rules to avoid upsetting anyone is exactly why woke comedy is such a snooze fest. The only people laughing are the elites telling you where the gate is.
So, does culture change? And are there things I used to say that I can't say, that everybody's always moving? Yeah, but that's the biggest, easiest target. You know, you can't say certain words,
Right.
you know, whatever they are, versus about groups. So what? So these larger cultural themes
Yeah.
of this is not considered acceptable, this is not acceptable.
Yeah.
So I don't think as I said, the extreme left has done anything to inhibit the art of comedy.
Right.
I'm taking that back now officially.
Gotcha.
They have not.
Right.
Do you like it? Maybe, maybe not. It's not my business to like or not like where the culture is at.
Yeah.
It's my business to make the gate.
No, Jerry, it's your business to make people laugh and think. This gate is there to be mocked, not obeyed. This pathetic difference to cultural boundaries betrays everything comedy stands for. Jerry, if you're not willing to risk offending people, then pack it up and get out. You're no longer a comedian. You're just a corporate mouthpiece for the woke elite.
Wow, what a profile and courage. An inspiration for the ages is Jerry Seinfeld. Now, needless to say, this is a cowardly retreat, all the more cowardly because of how unnecessary it was. People talked about his original comments condemning the extreme left for about half a day and then moved on. At this point, he may as well have said it 600 years ago. He didn't need to issue any clarification, much less a full retraction and apology, but he was obviously quite disturbed by the pushback, however mild and fleeting it may have been. Jerry Seinfeld never had much edge to begin with, but whatever edge he may have had at one point, he has now lost, obviously. And we've seen this devolution, and it's been quite sad and tragic. We've seen it with nearly all of the greatest and most influential comedians and entertainers and cultural figures of his generation, the ones who are still alive. They've pretty much all retreated and gotten duller and blander with age. Howard Stern is another prime example. And we've talked about that many times. People often lament that George Carlin, who's obviously, he would be older, he's a generation above Seinfeld, but people often lament that George Carlin isn't around anymore to lampoon the woke insanity. What they don't understand is that if he was around, he would almost certainly be in the Howard Stern and Jerry Seinfeld camp. I mean, you should be thanking God. If you like George Carlin stuff, you should be thanking God he's not around. Okay, because he would be doing stand-up sets about how Donald Trump is a threat to democracy. Even Bill Burr has gotten distinctly more PC with age, like a lot more. Now, you would think it would go the opposite way. Probably why it'd be best if most comedians just retired at 50, so we don't have to see them like this. Like, it's just sad and pathetic and painful to witness. And case in point, Seinfeld now says that the job of a comedian is to make the gate. Half a century in the business, and he now sounds like a court jester performing a set for Kim Jong-un in North Korea. Isn't it hilarious? Isn't it so funny to follow the rules exactly and never offend your audience under any circumstances?
This is brutal and accurate. Seinfeld's comedy has devolved into pandering to the cultural gatekeepers. Walsh hits the nail on the head. This isn't comedy. It's propaganda disguised as entertainment. Jerry, where's the edge? Where'd your edge go? Where's the boldness that made your show resonate?
Now, the reality, of course, is the opposite. The primary job of a comedian, the most essential role of comedy in any society, is not to make the gate and follow the course, but to question why the gate is there and not over there.
The real heart of the entire matter. Comedy should challenge norms, not follow them, and make people very uncomfortable with the status quo. Jerry's sanitized, safe version of comedy is exactly why late-night TV and Netflix specials are unbearable. It's all about moving the line instead of questioning it.
Why does the course go this way, but not that way? You can't find the humor and absurdity in the boundaries if you're not willing to push them. That doesn't mean that comedy always has to be intentionally outrageous or intentionally offensive just for the sake of it, but it does have to be aware of the ridiculous aspects of the culture, the rules that don't make any sense.
Bingo. The woke left has suffocated, strangled, and left comedy dead in a ditch by prioritizing acceptable speech over genuine humor. Seinfeld's pathetic retreat is proof that the extreme left has achieved its goal, controlling the narrative by silencing dissent. What's funny about following orders? Nothing, Jerry.
It's why comedians like Bill Burr have gotten much less funny as they've become more liberal. Like walking on the path without questioning it or without venturing off of it, that may be the safest thing, and it may be the easiest. It's not funny, though. There's never been a good adventure story about a guy walking on a marked trail from point A to point B and never leaving it. There's also never been a funny comedy with that premise.
Exactly. Real comedians take risks. They offend. They make you uncomfortable. They challenge. Seinfeld has chosen the opposite path, and in doing so, he has betrayed the very art form he once excelled at. This is not growth or adaptation, it is surrender. Plain and simple. And it's sad to watch, Jerry. You failed comedy.
Otherwise, he is, at best, a boring and lame and redundant comedian. At worst, he's not a comedian at all, but a propagandist, a whore for the cultural powers that put the gates up in the first place. And such a pathetic specimen as that might still make us laugh, but we're laughing at him, not with him. And there's certainly a significant difference between the two. And that is why Jerry Seinfeld is today, sadly, canceled.
And there you have it. Matt Walsh's takedown is relentless and well-deserved. Jerry Seinfeld, once an icon of observational comedy, has become a symbol of the neutering of comedy by woke culture. His retraction of legitimate criticism of the extreme left shows just how deep their influence runs. Seinfeld's metaphor about making the gate will go down as the ultimate joke, but the joke is on him. For those who care about free speech, comedy, and not bending the knee to cultural Marxism, Seinfeld's retreat is just another reason to mourn the state of modern entertainment. What do you think about Seinfeld's bowing down to the woke agenda? Comment below.